Hello everyone, my name is Jill Hindley Lawrence and welcome to our town. Today I have a new face here in the studio. His name is Greg Kanelos and he is a teacher and choreographer at Kathy Ryan Dance Studio located right here in Norfolk. Welcome, Greg.
Hi, how are you?
Good,
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm psyched. I feel like this is such a fun, enthusiastic interview to be had, to be done. So you are one of the main instructors, teachers, and also choreographer at Kathy Ryan, which I'm sure many people will recognize that name because it's been in Norfolk for 33 years. Is that right? It's been operating and running a small business in our town for 33 years. So would you give us like a minute or two background about the studio?
Sure.
And about,
Kathy was, danced her whole life.
Okay.
She was originally from West Roxbury.
Okay, so a Massachusetts girl who came out here. Okay.
And she, danced. She didn't go to school for dance, but that's okay because you don't have to.
Right.
She was actually a New England Patriots cheerleader.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So that was her.
Before, when it was probably the old stadium and everything.
It was.
Oh, that's an interesting tidbit.
Yes. Yep. So that was her professional dancer position that she held.
Okay.
And then in 1986, she decided to open up the studio right in Norfolk.
Yeah.
And it's been here ever since.
Right. And it's been offering dance. It offers, dance classes for all ages, right?
Yes. There's a recreation department and then a competitive department.
That's right. Okay. And that brings us to sort of your specific background, which is that there's classes for people to take for kids or to take recreationally if they just want to have fun with it. Which I said my daughter did once. When she was little, we did some recreational ballet. But then there's also the competitive side, and that's where you come in because that's your main role, right, at the studio. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I danced, when I was 4.5 all the way up until now, essentially.
All right, so starting at 4.5. And what were your what did you do as a kid?
Tap was my style.
Oh, wow. I wish you had your shoes. Imagine. And just 1 minute, he's going to do a tap dance on the table. That'd be fun.
Tap was kind of my, my sister danced, and she's 7 years older than
sister.
me.
Okay.
So when mom and dad had to go pick her up, I was like, I'm coming. And I would go and I would run into the studio, and Kathy's also my aunt. So I would say, hi, Auntie Kathy.
That's right.
And then I would watch my sister and all of her friends, dance. And I was mesmerized by it.
Yeah. And 7 years is a big, that's a lot because when you were, 3, she was already 10, right? So she was doing some pretty cool stuff, I bet.
Right. So I kind of was like, wow, this is so cool. And then, I did baseball and basketball. Yeah. And there comes a time where you have to, hit the ball more than 2 times a season. So I started, dancing, and I did a duet for 2 years, a tap duet, and then after that I had a tap solo private each year. So I wasn't even in the groups when I first started. I kind of just wanted to just do tap.
Okay.
Looking back, as my position now, not that it has hurt me or delayed me, but I should have done all 3 right away.
Okay. All 3 disciplines. And just remind us because I did not take dance at all, which, because I was always having to, my family was making me do all my sports. But remind me that it's tap, ballet, and jazz. Okay.
Yep. So that's primarily when you first start, you'll take a ballet class, and then you can take a jazz and a tap. As you get older, you get introduced to subcategories and different genres.
Okay.
So when you get older, ballet, if you want it to, you can explore lyrical. Okay. Which is a more in terms of choreography, it goes with the music. It flows. Musical. Ballet is very has its right way. And then jazz, you can stick with jazz, or you can explore hip hop.
Yeah. Oh, hip hop falls under jazz. Yes. Oh, so interesting. Yep. So there's 3 categories. Right. And now you're giving me the sub. All right, go on.
Right.
Go
and they're their own, but typically once you get to the high school levels, you explore contemporary and lyrical. Tap is really the only thing that remains the same.
Yeah, that's a very one discipline that goes.
And again, ballet is individual, lyrical is individual, but as you grow older, you explore those different styles.
Did you dance in high school?
I did, yep. You did. So I went all the way from 4.5 to 18.
And then,
And I kind of got bit by the competition bug early in life because, again, my sister was on the team.
Right.
So when I was younger, back in the day, the rule was you had to be in 6th grade to audition for the team.
Okay.
Which makes sense because you're at a specific level of maturity.
Of course.
And you kind of went through that phase of, I want to try this, but now I want to do basketball or I want to do field hockey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
6th grade sounds like a good, like, developmentally to really focus on something.
Right. But because I had an older sister and there were some other students that were my age that had older siblings, there would be some years where Kathy would say, like, oh, this year we're doing an Elton John production. Let's utilize Greg as the Elton.
Oh, cool.
Or one year it was a brides and groom theme, and I think I was like 7. So they were like, let's utilize the 2 little ones and Greg. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But that was, it was interesting to me. So when 6th grade came around, I was like, I'm doing it.
Yeah,
and then
you're ready.
It went all from there, and then I... graduated. It was in between when I kind of realized that I wanted to teach and choreograph.
Teach it. Yeah, it's so interesting that moment where, which I'm sure a lot of teachers of all sorts of subjects and coaches, and dance instructors, they get to that point where they're like, oh my gosh, I love this so much that I want to keep doing it.
Right.
In a way where I can impart my knowledge on kids, and that's really cool.
Right.
Yeah. So, I just had a question. It might have flown out of my head. Oh, Elton John, do you sing too?
I don't sing. No. But they went to the extreme and they built a piano. Out of wood, and it had rollers on the bottom, and it was, all made.
So you were pretending.
I was, yep, and that traveled with us that year. We went to Myrtle Beach for nationals. Wow. And that piano came to Myrtle Beach. Yeah. And it was,
It traveled. How do you ship a piano? I don't know. I never.
We didn't. We had to break it down and put it in the back of the truck.
Oh, wow. This is like hardcore.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say? I want to talk about your kind of move into your teaching and that. But what would you say is looking back? It's always been tap has been your strength.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I did get into jazz in my middle school and high school years. I will admit ballet was never really my thing. Looking back, I wish I took it. That's not that I didn't take it seriously. Yeah. I just wanted to, stick with my tap and jazz.
Yeah, you really want with what you liked. Yeah, or what
and
you
now
loved.
I've made up for that, taking classes, working on my technique, because you have to.
With ballet.
Correct.
Is it true that NFL quarterbacks take ballet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Do they take it when they're young or they take it what do you know about that?
To be honest with you, I have met a lot of people who are my age or above, few years, and I tell them
20s. Okay, yeah,
right. I tell them about dance and everything, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool." Like I used to take ballet when I was a kid because I played football.
Oh,
wow. And they do take them in the professional.
Okay. So they
leagues.
take it as kids more so than when
it might not be required. Like I know if you're doing Pop Warner football, they don't require it.
No. It'd be funny if they did though.
Right.
Okay, so really the discipline of ballet is balance is we say is the top, and but also balance, but then just strength, like all out
coordination.
Right.
Yeah. There's so many different benefits to ballet, and I personally think because when I was growing up, bullying was kind of like in its prime.
Oh yeah.
So it was popular for guys to dance, but you'd get the teasing and the taunting.
Oh yeah.
And like nowadays, it's still out there, unfortunately, but there's a lot of programs in place to try and diffuse things like that.
And I feel like people maybe are more, at least when you get to high school, there's more accepting on everyone's going to be an individual kind of thing. I don't know.
And me, looking back, I cared what people thought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was always forced to do the talent show.
Right.
That would be my little thing. You can't compete unless you do the talent show.
Right.
So I would do it, but I'd be so nervous. And then after it, they'd be like, oh my God, that was so cool.
Right.
But then, leading up to it was and when you're in elementary school and middle school, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now I'm like,
yeah.
No,
now you're comfortable and you're so.
Exactly.
But I mean, it is unusual for a kid to go through ages 4 to 18 without feeling people are picking on them. Right. It kind of happens all across the board, I guess.
Anyone should do. Everyone should try a dance class in their life.
That's what I want. I agree.
Because it really helps so many different things than just a costume and a recital.
Right.
There's teamwork. That's a huge skill that a lot of children lack that don't partake in some type of sport.
Right.
Teamwork is huge. coordination.
Yeah.
That's very big with ballet.
And that's why the balance and the coordination is why the athletes look at ballet.
Right.
So coordination, teamwork. But wouldn't you also say that dance, competitive dance, teaches you to read other people, right? Because you need to read their cues. And I think that that's a great life skill to read.
Spatial awareness.
Yeah, spatial awareness, right.
Yep.
That's right.
It's very, because you think, you're like, oh, well, she's on stage left, I'm on stage right. Sometimes that can get tricky.
Yeah. Just how far the space.
Right.
I feel like watching my own children play a lot of their sports, I noticed that some kids really, we call it like, say if they're playing basketball, we call it, if someone has a good at basketball IQ, a high basketball IQ kind of thing, where they can read other people, like making the passes, like Larry Bird had a high basketball IQ, even though he wasn't super, super athletic. And I feel like dance probably teaches you a little bit like about that reading other people, and it's a really nice, nice thing to be able to do, and not everyone has it naturally. Yeah.
No, it's definitely a skill that needs to be worked on, and especially because in competition, if you come once a week and you do a group, you're in the studio from September to June, you learn your groups, and then you do them in the recital.
Right.
In competition,
that's recreation.
Correct. In competition, you could do a solo, you could do a duo, you could do a trio, you could do a small group, or you could do a large group.
Okay.
So the numbers vary based off the team and what the teachers want to do.
Okay.
So sometimes a kid will excel in a group, and they go on for a solo, and it's like, no. I can't do this. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and that's the skills we have to work on, because it's scary when you're with, I have a team of 6. That's the amount right now. But when I dance,
that's your competitive team that you teach, you coach.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So right now it's at 6, which is a great number. The teams vary years in and years out. When I danced, there was 20 my senior year, but a few years before that, there was 9. They fluctuate because some kids realize, I don't really want to do this anymore, or like,
the commitment to the competition.
Exactly.
Because that's a lot of, I'd like to hear a little bit about that. But so right now you have 6 in your group.
I have 6 main members. And then I have 2 minis. And I decided to, Kathy and I talked, and we were like, let's start a mini team. There's only 2, but that's still a team.
Yeah,
and,
as long as there's more than one.
Exactly, right. And and that will grow throughout the years. And my reasoning was, kids that show interest specifically, that want to do more dance, but can physically, they can't do more rec classes. That's what competition is for. Okay. That's to take your dancing to the next level.
Right.
So I was like, there were 2 members specifically who were like, I want to do more and more and more.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, let's do it.
Yeah.
Why not? Times are changing, rules change.
Right.
So
that's where the mini team came from.
Exactly.
Kind of.
Yep.
Now, the dance studio, Kathy Ryan Dance Studio, tell me the range of ages that you offer to, or that you have right now. Is it
on the team or in the studio?
Let's say overall.
Okay, so you can start from age 2 all the way till age 18.
You can start at age 2.
Yeah, it's typically 3 is the age that they begin. There have been, depending on the 2-year-old, if they're, some come in and then they realize, and the parent realizes that, no, we'll wait till they're 3.
We'll wait till they're 3, because some of them are still not steady on their feet, right? Walking.
Right.
Although, again, I guess you're learning the balance.
But that is the age, 2 and 3, and 4 is really the age to get them into class, because that's when they're growing, and their motor skills are developing, and that's when they should be experiencing all of those skills while they're young.
Right,
what I mean?
The coordination skills. Right. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so age 2, officially to 18, and then the competitive team starts in usually about 6th grade. So
right. We do make 11. Exceptions if there's a 5th grader who has excelled and really shows interest. You know what I mean? It's not so like, oh, you let a 5th grader on the team. You know what I mean?
No, right. It's case by case, right?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So now tell me a little bit more about your what it's like to be a dance instructor, a dance teacher.
So I honestly didn't think that I was ever going to be doing this.
Yeah.
I grew up in Franklin, Mass.
Okay.
And I attended Tri-County.
Okay.
And my trade was dental assisting.
Was it? Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
So
okay.
I was, at the time, a high schooler. I was like, this is fun. This is kind of, I'm interested in the subject matter.
Yeah.
I'm understanding it. I took 2 national board exams that dentists take. And I passed them.
Oh, wow.
Our whole class had to do that.
Yeah.
And I really thought I was going to go on and be a dentist. In dance, when I was a student, I became a student assistant in 8th grade. And that was like so fun because you got to come in and you got to assist Kathy and, you know, start the warm-ups and kind of serve as like a second eye to the level below you. So that was fun. And that kind of opened up to like teaching. You know, you weren't teaching the class, but that's how it starts. You mentor someone.
And you're a teaching assistant. So you're, that's cool.
And then in terms of choreography, when I was 14, one of the seniors was, you know, we kind of had a nice relationship. She was 18, obviously, but I was on the team with her and she was like, you know, I have to do a senior dance and I know you kind of like making moves up, like, do you want to help me with it? And you can be in it. And I was like, sure, you know, and that's how it starts. You know what I mean? So I look back at that routine now and I'm like, oh my God. But that's how it starts.
That's all right. You were 14.
Exactly. And then when I was 16, I said to myself, we were going to nationals up in Maine, and I found out that they had a student choreography category. So I went to Kathy and I was like, listen, I know I'm going to sound crazy because there's only 3 months till nationals, but can I choreograph 2 routines and put them in? And she was like, what?
The competition.
She was like, there's 3 months left. And I was like, can we do it? And she was like, you know what? Sure, go for it. So I grabbed 2 of my friends on the team, and I did a musical theater number to Easy Street from Annie.
I was going to ask, oh gosh, I know all the words to that.
No, it's a great song. So we did that, and then I did a duo for another 2 members on the team. And they were in that category, and you know, they got golds, and 16-year-old me was ecstatic.
And you were a student choreographer, you got a gold. Yeah, you got the gold. Oh, that's so cool.
You know, we got the gold, and in the competition world, every competition's different. Typically, when I first started, it was bronze, silver, gold. And then it adjusted to like high bronze, silver, high silver, gold, high gold, platinum. And now it's like gold, high gold, platinum, elite gold. There's so many different levels. It really differs. But a gold for me was like, you know, I was like, we didn't get a high silver. So I was thrilled. And that really opened my eyes to choreographing. So my senior year, I was like, I want to do it again. So I did a tap duet with an alumni member of the studio. And that was undefeated the whole season.
Was it really?
Yep, in that category.
So cool. What was the tap number? What was the music?
It was to Happy by Pharrell Williams.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, that was very big for me. And I did more solos that year for some of the members. And then when I graduated, you know, I was like, I'm going to be a dentist, like, bye. I came home on the weekends to do a few more numbers. But it really wasn't until my sophomore year of college that a position became available for the competition team choreographer.
I see.
And I went to Kathy and I was like, you know what? I have a lot of interest in this. You know, and I know I'm 18, turning 19, but I kind of want to do this. And she was like, well, you know, I have faith in you and I think you can do it. But now, you know, you're not a student anymore. You're dealing with like kids, you know? And I was like, no, that makes sense. So she gave me a group or 2. I think I had 1 group that year and a few solos and a duo. And then the next year, she gave me the production number.
She did. Oh, wow.
And if you know history of the team, you know that production number was Kathy's number. You know, she worked with Miss Marie, who was an instructor of mine my whole life. Credit her a lot for the talent that I have today. But I was thrilled. So I did that. And that year was kind of, I've been, with this particular team we have now, we're going on year number 5 together. So
so you're that team. So that means that they're high school kids now.
And it's great because when I started with them, they were novices, which is in the 3 levels: novice, intermediate, advanced. So novice is beginner, intermediate is in between, and advanced is like you train hard, and you know what I mean. So I've been with them since they were starting out. On the team.
And they were novice.
And I was kind of starting out too. You know, I didn't walk into it saying, well, I know, you know what I mean? So we kind of have grown together, which has been such a, you know, it's like a little family. You know, the girls will say all the time that dance is their second home. And that's something that I love because that's exactly how Kathy made it for us when we danced. That was your safe haven. You ran to dance. You know, you all dance was
school. You can have hard days at school.
Exactly.
And then you go to dance and it's like,
So that was kind of my thing. And I've been with them. We're going on year 5. And it's nice because I have the 6 right now. And then I'm going to have 6. If someone new joins, they come on board. But I have 2 girls that have been with me since the beginning in the year prior. And they're going to be graduating after next year. So we've been on a great journey. And, you know, something I always say nowadays, you know, I am young. I'm not someone who's been in this forever. You're dealing with kids. You know, and kids learn at different paces. And I often equate things to school. Some of them are going to walk into math class.
Right.
They're going to get what you just taught. They'll do the homework. They'll come in, what's next?
Yeah.
And in dance, some are going to come in, they'll get it, be ready to move. But some are going to watch, they're going to get confused. They're going to need you to redo it.
Yes.
You know, so they all learn at their own pace. And, you know, Kathy, as she's been mentoring me, and all my mentors have said, it will click for kids.
Yeah.
You know, once they get to a certain age, it's going to go boom, you know.
Right.
And the team has all clicked together, which has been beautiful.
Yeah.
This year specifically, they have been so on their game. You know, they reached out to me all summer and they were like, we need to get back in the studio. Like, I want to get back to work. Like, I'm ready for this season. I'm ready to work my hardest.
Yeah.
They kept sending me pictures of them, like, working on all their turns and such. Aww. So I was like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
And this has been a phenomenal season. They
and you still have all the big stuff in front of you, probably, right? The national.
So they've competed. Typically, we do. The season starts in September, and we have auditions the first week, and as their rec classes start in September too.
Oh, okay.
And we get right to work that following Wednesday because I have to get those routines done by January.
Oh, okay.
Because they compete the first or second week in February.
Oh, wow! So the competition season is long.
Yes.
You know, it starts midwinter, I guess, and goes all the way to June.
May.
Or May. Okay.
So we start the routines in September.
Yeah.
I call this choreography season.
Yeah.
From September to January is choreography season. They learn all of their routines for competition.
Yeah.
And then in January, we work on cleaning, finalizing, costumes and such.
Right.
And then February, we hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And they've already competed twice.
Wow.
So they competed the first weekend and 2 weekends ago was their regional competition to qualify for nationals.
I see.
And it was phenomenal. They actually beat their personal best score.
Oh, wow.
To date.
Oh,
so
goodness.
I was thrilled.
So you guys are really on and up. Yeah.
They walked in this year and they were like, we're ready. Let's do it. And I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
So,
and these are a group of high school age, mostly.
The youngest is in 7th grade.
Oh, okay.
And the
so
oldest,
it's a
they're juniors.
Juniors, okay.
Yep.
Now, so tell me just a little bit about, before we have to wrap in a few, about what it's like. What's choreography like? Like, I can't really picture it. So, do you pick a song first? Do you pick, start me from the, sort of the top down.
So everybody has their processes. Some, have to write things down. Kathy writes every step down.
Every step.
Right.
So she has like a vertical, like every list.
On line paste paper, she writes the formations and such on, and that's a great way to memorize it.
Right.
I do that, but I don't do that. Because, I'm a big fan of carography, I call it. All my best work is done in the car.
Oh, that's so funny. So you call it carography.
Correct.
Because you're thinking.
Right.
You're driving and thinking and not driving and texting.
Correct. Right? Exactly. So that's a common thing. And a lot of dance teachers do that.
Yeah.
You put the music on and then you're like, all right, boom. So I typically have, for example, this year, our production number. And, we use that term production because when you have 20 kids, it's categorized as a production.
Okay.
But production is everyone has to be in that routine on the team.
Okay.
So the theme is Stranger Things.
Oh, cool.
Well, the theme of the recital this year is Dancing Through the Library.
Okay.
So each dance is based off a different book genre.
Oh, okay. A book genre. That's cool.
So, Stranger Things is a TV show.
Sci-fi, right?
Right, but I played it off as sci-fi.
Yeah.
And all the girls watch it. They love it. So I was like, okay, so I had that routine mapped out, ready to go. And of course, things change throughout the season. But you really have to, you have to make sure, my job is to make sure the girls look good on stage.
Right.
It's not about... And, teachers, and they go through this sometimes because there might be a step that I love and I really want to put it in there because it will look great. But you need more time. The girls need more time to work on,
Right. So you have to tweak.
Exactly. And my job is to make sure that they look good doing the step.
Right.
So it has to be what they can do, what they've mastered.
Cleanly.
Exactly. Very clean.
And once the competition season begins in February, do you even tweak as you go? Like,
yes.
We after that first.
We try not to, but when we go, we receive critiques from 3 different judges.
Right.
And again, you can't really hold all that weight on the judges because that's their opinion.
Yes.
We
it's
competed
subjective.
the first week in February, and then we waited a week off, and then we did it again, and the scores went up 12 points because, changes were made, and the girls were a lot better than they were the first time.
Plus the second time, always the first time around is
exactly.
the one,
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, you don't take the critiques to heart. You might listen to it and say, okay, that actually is a good suggestion. We might do that.
Right.
But, you know, it's basically the judges are looking and watching them and working on their technique, you know.
Okay.
If their shoulders get lifted, they'll say, push your shoulders down, rotate, you know. So that's really the point about critiques and they're all in video. So the girls get to watch and say, oh yeah, you know, my foot was sickled there. I have to make sure I keep it turned out, you know.
I see. Oh my
so
God, there's so much detail.
There is. Dance is very detail specific.
Yeah.
But that's my process. I definitely pick the song and then I will listen to it. My friends get so annoyed because when they come into my car, it's literally competition music and they're like, what is this?
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, I have to work.
Right.
So, you know, I do that and then I'll get in the studio and then I'll say, all right, well, that worked in my car, but it's not going to work in the studio.
Right.
And then it just all plays out.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely is hard. You know, you have to put a lot of time to it. And you do get choreographer's block, just like writer's block.
You do.
There are weeks where I'm like, oh.
I don't know what to do with this part of it. Yeah,
but
that's
then the
really
next
cool.
week, it flows.
It comes.
You know?
Oh, that's really cool.
Right.
It's such, what a creative line of work, you know, that's really neat. And plus you do both because you teach recreation your classes too. So you really do have like a nice range of kids, types of dancers, right? So, well, we have to wrap in a minute, but before we do, I just wanted to see if there's anything else you want to say. I don't know whether it was about your role now or just the studio in general. Is there anything we didn't cover?
I think, you know, I'm very excited and optimistic.
How many years have you been you have the title that you have now, which is the
Right. So
choreographer?
Kathy is I'm in charge of the team and Kathy kind of serves as the CEO.
Right.
So, you know, she has all those years of experience and it's her studio.
Yeah.
It's her name.
Right.
So I kind of have all the creative power.
Right.
She handles the costumes. That's her thing. And I'm fine with that.
Right.
I'll have my suggestions.
Yeah.
But I handle all the creative and then I'll be go, 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 go. And she'll be like, try this. You know, so we have a great working relationship.
Yeah.
But I'm going on year 5.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, good.
So it's been, you know, half a decade, and it
know,
goes by
right?
quick.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's
it's going to be
for
very
sure.
sad because I'm going to have to say goodbye to those two.
I know this group that you began with.
Right.
I know
It's
that's
finally
hard.
meshing, but you know what? We have another full
You have
year.
another year. Yeah,
Right.
you have a year and a half, really, because you still have this rest of this competition season.
Right.
Well, you bring so much, just enthusiasm to it, just from knowing you a little bit, and so much positivity.
Yes.
I think positivity is the key to working with kids.
Absolutely.
And you seem like you're very good at it. So I'm so glad that you reached out, and I'm so glad you came in. It's great to meet you.
Great to meet you. Thank you for having me.
And if anyone wants further info about Kathy Ryan Dance Studio, do you know the website off the top of your head?
Yes. You can find us at www.krds.weebly, weebly.com.
And they'll throw it up on the screen. So, okay.
And then we're on Facebook,
okay.
and Instagram under Kathy Ryan DS _. And then I myself, you can follow me at GK Choreography.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
We'll put those up so people want to check that out and look at you up on Instagram. And it's great to, I think one of the best parts, and another part besides getting to meet you and hear what you do, is to know that as our little town, little town of Norfolk, that we have this a small business that's been here 33 years and is thriving.
Yes.
And we've got this, look at this guy and his positive, enthusiastic soul. So your spirit, I should say. So thanks so much. It's a great place. And check it out. And for NCTV, this is Our Town. Thanks for watching.